Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. I don't know why. I keep... There was one time yesterday, I think, that I was actually going to sit there and say days when I was watching, when I was doing my GH review. But anyway. So let's start with Chanel for a minute. I think today's episode might be the actress' last appearance on the show. Because, they're going to be switching... they're going to recast her with someone else. For some odd reason, I'm not too sure why. I don't know if it was their decision or if it was her decision, but either way, yeah. So, once again, this has become a point where it's not even funny anymore. Because once again, Chanel catches Eli naked. And this time, I was like, you know what? This is on both of y'all. Okay? This is on both of y'all. And of course, once again, she comes downstairs and she says something that's inappropriate. And I'm sitting there thinking, I could have swore Lonnie had that talk with you not that long ago. Probably a couple weeks ago. And once again, like the moron that she is, she goes down there and she starts commenting about his body. Like, everything that Lonnie said just went right over her head. And of course, this happened because, Eli was going downstairs. Something was burning, which was, Chanel's fault. She, when you confronted her, she was like, oh, I have my headphones on, and yada, yada, yada. And, listen, if we're going to be honest, she's not the first person that nearly burnt something because she was busy doing something else. I've done that a couple of times. But I guess it's a little bit differently when, you have two babies in the house. That kind of, it's one of those things where it's like, alright, you can screw up when it's just you. When you have two little ones there, it's a little bit kind of different. But, yeah, so that happens, and, they're talking about it, and then, because, she was making the cake or whatever that burnt, which I don't understand. She was making a cake. I guess she wasn't going to sit there and show Lonnie. Because Lonnie came in there. And, Eli was like, oh, we can't sit there and tell Lonnie. And Lonnie was like, can't tell her what? Can't tell her what? Okay? She had that look on her face like, well, what's going on? And, of course, once again, Chanel was like, oh, I saw your husband naked again. And, she was like, here's the thing, she came down on Chanel. But I kind of was like, why is he still walking around his house naked? Why does he keep doing that for? He knows that there's somebody else in this house. I said this last time. I was like, bro, can you put on a shirt or something? Can you get dried before you leave the bathroom? And that's where you can have something on instead of you just walking around just, willy-nilly like... Anyway, she was there coming down on Chanel once again. Listen, we had this talk before, but this time Chanel was like, listen, I'm just gonna move out and I'm staying with my mom, and I think that's just best for us, for everyone. And Lonnie was like, well, I agree, and that was that. I mean, at this point, it was one of those things where it's like, it was going to be another lecture on Chanel. But I was just like, so we're just going to sit there and act like the dudes that's just walking around naked, knowing that there is somebody else in the house. We're just going to sit there and say, I mean, I'm pretty sure she said something last time. I guess this time was just like, did she say something last time? I don't remember. I know she came down on Chanel about it. And, the first time she was just acting like it just wasn't a big deal, so I understood why she did it. But the second time it was like, alright, I mean, how mad are you going to sit there and get upset with her, and this dude is the one that's not there walking around naked? Like I said, I think at this point everyone knows how I feel about Chanel. But with that being said, I'm not going to sit there and give her all the smoke. I mean, of course, a little inappropriate comment was just like, yep, that's typical dumbass Chanel. But again, I gotta sit there and I kind of gotta sit there and defend her to a certain extent. Yeah, she leaves. She goes to her mother's, and of course she sees Abe and Paulina, and she didn't know what was going on. She's like, so when did y'all become like a thing or whatever? And at first, she's giving her mother a bit of smack or whatever, a little bit of slack about it. And then her mom is like, oh, well, I was totally cool with, you and your gender fluid thing. I'm like, this isn't a quid pro quo thing, Paulina. What do you mean? Oh, because you're cool with her and her sexuality, she should be cool with you? Like, you should do that regardless if she's not okay. Okay. Anyway, long story short, they gave each other, a break or whatever. It's like, it's cool, whatever. And, it really wasn't that big of a deal. But when Abe came over to give flowers to Lonnie, and, this is something that Abe, Paulina was sent to saying to Lonnie. Paulina was sent to saying to Abe when he was over there. Abe was like, she's such a strong and vibrant woman or whatever. And, she's been alone for a long time. She hasn't really been anyone, she hasn't really been with anyone except for me. And Lonnie was like, I'm sorry, what? What did she do? What did she just say? Really? And Abe was like, what's going on? And, she was like, nothing, but I just feel like Paulina is keeping something from you. I kind of was like, well, it's one of those things was like, okay, so you're going to sit there and say something? You're going to sit there and call her out on her lie and tell Abe that? No, you're just going to sit there and you're just going to sit there and call her out on half of her lie to Abe. Okay, fine. And I guess at this point, Abe would sit there and try to, talk to her or whatever and see what's going on. Now, when Abe, I guess, went somewhere, he went in the shower. Paulina was like, yo, listen, we gotta get this thing done, like, today, like, now. I know it's a holiday, I'm paying you double, get it done. And, of course, that's when Chanel was like, yo, what's going on? So, I said this last night, I don't really understand her plan. Like, what is your plan? You were planning on doing this, and just being like, oh, well, I know a lot of people aren't going to like it. It's like, no, now you got to know these people. I don't understand, what did she thought was going to wind up happening? Even if she was just so ready to screw over Abe, she was really ready to just, screw over Lonnie too? Somebody who she treats as like a daughter? Does that make... oh my goodness, okay. Alright, let's talk about Ben for a minute, because Ben is, having dreams about Ciara, because... the sad thing is that I don't want to sit there and call him a simp. I don't. Personally, somebody practically told me to kick rocks, go halfway around the world with someone else, and then be like, sending divorce papers. I would have signed those things in a heartbeat. Okay? But anyway, he's having dreams. Claire comes over, it's like, yo, listen, you're not staying inside, you're coming with us, we're getting ready to go. So between those two, and, Trip and Allie, they all meet up by like some river or pool or somewhere. They're all hanging out, and Allie and Claire, they want to go for a swim. So you got Ben and Trip talking, and he's not there talking about how he, okay, I'm just not to get my stories mixed up for a minute. So Trip is not there talking about Allie, Trip is not there talking about Allie and how they're getting close and stuff like that, and they're just taking it slow, after what Ben said as far as, go for it. And so when Trip is like, so what's going on with you and Claire? Ben's like, yo, we're just friends, my heart is still with Ciara. And I'm like, really? I was like, really? Then he talks about divorce papers that he practically burned. He didn't sign them, and now he's sitting there getting calls every day, and he's like, oh, well, I'm not going to sit there and stop trying to fight for her. I'm still going to sit there and hold out hope that she's one day going to sit there and remember. Even though she went halfway around the world with another man, I'm just keeping the hope alive. Like, I just was like, are you kidding me? And by the way, in his little sex dream or whatever, his little dream, well, the actress was there, and I was just like, oh, I guess you decided you want to show back up to work. Okay, cool. I guess everyone's supposed to sit there and embrace her loving arms and all that other good stuff, right? They're supposed to just, I don't know. For me, I don't know, because part of me feels like a hypocrite. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. I genuinely feel like a hypocrite. When Steve Burns came back, on GH, I was thrilled. And this was a point where I was going to be like, alright, once the whole Morgan thing, wraps up or whatever, I'm just going to kind of just like, alright, I'm just going to just chill out for GH for a little bit and just, kind of start watching and maybe get back into it. The minute I heard Steve Burns was coming back, I was, well, obviously I was happy. But then I didn't sit there and look at it as a whole. Like, this dude literally left, went to another soap opera, practically told his fans to, kick rocks or whatever. And granted, I think he said he did it to be close to his family or whatever. But I was just like, really? Like, you just went on to another soap opera. You just told your fans or whatever. And then he comes back and practically, in a not so subtle way, kind of push out another actor. And he becomes the new Jason again, and it's just like, so for me, I just kind of look at the whole Ciara thing, and I'm like, that's just my personal feelings, but I guess I can sit there and understand if you are a fan of Ciara, but for me personally, I'm just like, what the hell are you doing back here? Anyway, so they're talking about Ciara and stuff like that, and that's when, Allie and Claire find Dr. Snyder's body. So they call Eli, he comes over there, he asks him questions and stuff like that. He sits there and talks to Trippy, he's like, yo, listen, you're not a suspect, but, just give me a little more information, like, what do you know, like, about him, like, does he have any enemies or anything like that? And at first, Tripp was kind of reluctant or whatever, but then he talks about the pain pills being missing, and this whole little thing with Gwen, as far as like their, the tension that they had. So, with that being said, they leave. Now, Ben thanks Claire for getting him out the house, showing him a good time. She leaves, he opens the door, and Ciara's there. She's there, she got a purse, she has that look on her face, like she's, well, to be honest, I don't really know. I mean, I really don't know. I don't know if I feel like she's going to be there and being like, so I'm here and you're here. Sign the goddamn divorce papers. That's what I'm sitting there thinking. Now, I stopped holding out hope for them the minute that she was set to come back. The minute that she was set to come back, and during that whole storyline, when he was trying to find her, or he had to sit there and believe that she was still alive, and he found her and stuff like that, that's when I was like, okay, cool, so they're going to be back together, it's going to be all good, and every blah, blah, blah. But then that happened. So at that point, I was like, you know what, listen, whatever sort of faith I had in those two getting back together, and let's just be very clear for a minute, and I've said this on my GH, said this on here a couple of times, I'm not really for the whole coupling thing or whatever, not really my thing, but since they did get married and everything like that, and I want to see how they function as a couple and stuff like that, and what kind of craziness they can get into, that's what I was looking forward to. But after the whole amnesia thing and everything after that, I was like, alright, whatever. So I feel that, this last little clip is going to try to give a lot of people this false hope of, she came back for him, she finally remembered everything, and they're going to sit there and be a couple again. And at first I was like, oh, okay, nope, you're not doing this to me, no. So I guess we'll just find out about that little piece tomorrow. Now, Gwen did open up to Xander, told her everything, the stuff that Clay was not there holding over her head about the whole miscarriage thing. So they do that, they start to really bond and stuff like that, and she gets Xander to open up about, you know, how he feels about his family not really accepting him. Now, to a certain extent, and let's be clear, I haven't been watching this show that long, I feel like maybe if he just had a talk with Victor, he can get back in their good graces to some extent. Yeah, he's not going to be the golden child that Philip is, but let's be honest. Philip is his actual biological son. You are his nephew. You know, there's a certain... It's nothing to saying that... Like, it sounds kind of terrible to sit there and say, like, you know, he should love his son more than he should love Xander. You know, because Xander kind of looks up to him, or maybe to some extent kind of like a father figure. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, you are his nephew, and that is his son. It's just how it's going to be, you know, and you kind of got to sit there and accept that and still love him anyway, and accept that love, no matter if you want more love than Philip. It is what it is. But, you know, his pride is just getting in the way a lot of it, you know, and as far as their whole reconnecting. And let's be very clear. Xander has done some really terrible things, and terrible stuff even before I start watching the show. And Xander's the type of person that will flip on a dime. He'll have his whole good guy act 1 minute when he's in love and, you know, this person's making him a better person. The minute that they split or whatever happens, he goes back to his old ways. So his redemption just really, not really so much of an act, but it really wasn't genuine. So, like, as far as his family's concerned and stuff like that, it's like, bro, you've done a lot of stuff. Alright, let's not sit there and try to act like, you know, you just got some parking tickets and stuff like that. You've done terrible things, alright? Let's just kind of meet him a little bit halfway. But, you know, at one point they're saying like they're about to kiss, and then Eli comes to the door like, yo, your doctor's dead. To Gwen, and Gwen was like, yeah, that's terrible. And that has to do with me. How? So I guess we'll find out. I was sitting there thinking about this as I was watching it. I was like, man, you know, they didn't, you know, it's like they really just got over, like they really just like finished, you know, another murder mystery not that long ago, and they're already sitting there diving in this one. So, I wonder how everyone feels about that, though. You know, especially since they just did a whole murder mystery before, and now they're diving into another one. How does everyone feel about that? Do they like it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Why? Why not? All that good stuff. I feel like I am still missing something, like always. But that's either one, because I'm missing something, or two, I pretty much kind of write my notes like I'm writing a damn book. So, anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I will see you in the next video.